We need to dig deep down into our souls for this intro, Smiffy.
Okay.
Deep.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, and we're podcasting. Bloop. Intro music.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that intro music?
I feel great.
Because it's victory music, Smiffy.
That is right.
And we're walking down the street. Nope.
Talking about victory.
And we're way off beat.
And way off key.
And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Because it's Victory Monday.
You can't bring us down,
You
Smiffy.
never can unless it's Being Mean to Smiffy Day.
Which is every day
Every
if you're
day.
me. Speaking of being mean to Smiffy, Smiffy,
Yes.
you missed potentially the best game I've ever seen at the Q. If it wasn't the best game, it was right up there in at least it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
But if I'm racking my brain at all the games I've seen in that stadium, this one's right up there.
I believe you.
Yeah. And I was there in 2006 when LT broke the rushing record.
Okay.
That was a dynamite year.
Right.
Now, you had many more years
I did.
of watching games at the Q.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you can't compare because you weren't there.
No.
Welcome to the Shipyard. I am Van Awesome. This is the podcast, and you're listening to it, so congratulations.
And I'm Smiffy.
And this is Smiffy. I wasn't going to introduce him today because I'm peeved.
I'm peeved
Smiffy.
too.
Well, I'm peeved.
I'm peeved too.
Shall we explain why we're both peeved?
Let's. You want to go first?
Sure. So Smiffy missed the game. Last second. Last second scratch for Smith at the Fleet game this week. And it was a bummer because it was such an awesome game. And I was there without my partner in crime in the front row. Yeah. And all of the glorious things happened. Kam Kelly.
Sorry.
Sorry, Cam. I'm going to do it till the end of time. When you're on an NFL roster next year and making billions of dollars,
right?
I'm going to still be calling you accidentally Kam Cameron. Maybe not. Kam Kelly with his 3 interceptions and his pick 6.
Yep. Looked good on TV.
It looked good. Yeah, but he came through on a promise in episode 15 when we interviewed him. He said, if I score a touchdown, I'm gonna head on over to F19.
That's right. He did say that.
And I'm gonna jump up and high five you guys.
Yep.
Or actually, he was meant to receive the Chris 5.
That is.
I was like, listen, we got a Chris 5 for you. But here's the thing, I wasn't ready for that touchdown because we expected him at that point in time to be a receiver.
That's true.
And he moved back to defense, and it was such a just crazy out of the blue pick 6.
Yep.
That I was searching all my pockets frantically.
Right.
Well, I was like, I got to get the 5. I got to get the 5.
And where he picked it off, it wasn't like he had to run 80 yards.
No. And so next thing I know, he's there, and I'm like, all right, we're just going to have to settle for the high 5.
Right. And it was a good high 5.
I shortly thereafter found the 5 in my pocket and tried to retroactively distribute said 5.
Right.
But at that point, he was in team celebration mode, and it just wasn't happening. But I digress. Smiffy. The cool thing about that is you got to see all that fun stuff.
I did.
From your couch.
Yeah, the comfort of my couch.
So Smiffy, tell us why you didn't make the game. It's a bummer situation. Lay it on us.
All right, man. Just real quick. After I say this, was I the wrong? Were you in the wrong? Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So
we'll determine that
real quick. So 2.5 weeks ago, this dude gave me a piece of paper. He does lawns. He's like the kid in the neighborhood that does the lawns.
Right.
Take the paperwork. He's got his phone number. Couple days, 3 days after that, wife calls him. Never hear back from him.
Professional red flag, I'd say.
Totally.
Yeah. Proceed.
This past Friday.
Yep.
Rolls around, and I can't remember what time it was. It was probably early afternoon. But anyway, doorbell rings. Open the door, and it's him.
Surprise.
He's like, "Oh, hey, you guys called about the lawn?" We're like, "Yeah, but we never heard back from you. So we're, I can't even pay you because I have no cash on me."
Right.
He's like, "Well, I can take a check." I'm like, "I'm not writing you a check, dude. That's not happening. Sorry."
Yeah, it's a problem waiting to happen.
Yes. So he's like, "Well, if you want, I can do the lawn now, and you can just pay me later." I'm like, still pretty hesitant. I still got a weird vibe from this dude.
Okay.
But finally, like, you know what? The lawn's got to be done. It was horrible. The dog will go out there and he just disappear. So, but anyway,
a jungle.
Yes. So he does the lawn. Takes him about an hour. There was a lot to mow down. I tell him, hey, I'm gonna have my wife stop, pick up some cash on the way home. She'll probably be home around 6 or 7 this evening. Dude was like, cool. See you later. Said, I'll call you. I think. I don't remember. But anyway.
All right.
What I forgot though was my wife was going out to dinner with friends from work that night. So it'd be much later than 6 or 7 when she got home.
Gotcha.
So anyway, somewhere around 7, it's probably a little bit after 7, he knocks on the door.
Expecting some money.
I'm like, hey dude, sorry. She's still not home yet, but you will have your money tonight, period.
Yeah.
He didn't really seem to like it, but he had to accept it.
Yeah.
And left.
And the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wife comes home. She gets home 8 something.
Okay.
With the money. She said she called him. Never heard back to him. There's a pattern.
Dude doesn't like calling back.
Nope.
Okay.
Dude never shows up the rest of the night. Game day, Saturday. Wife's at work. Ring the doorbell. It's him. I'm like, oh, cool. Here's your money. Gave him 5 crisp 20s. So,
yeah. Okay.
He takes it. He seemed kind of hesitant when he took it, but he took it and left.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm like, all right, cool. Deal's done. Transaction's done.
Let's pack it up and go to football.
Yeah. I've got the meats out. I'm getting ready to put stuff in the bag. I bought potato chips, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
About a half hour later, doorbell rings again. I'm like, all right, who's this? Open the door. It's him again. And he's asking me, how much did that paper that I gave you say that I was charging? I'm like, oh, it's $65. But he didn't, you could tell he didn't believe me.
Yeah.
Last I saw the paper was hanging on my fridge. It's gone.
Oh boy.
Come to find out my wife threw it away.
So, not ideal in this type of situation.
Because that I think would have shut it down right then and there.
Right.
So anyway, kind of hems and haws and okay, and then he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back again. And this now I'm getting upset because one, it's getting close to the time I need to go to the game.
Right.
And two, now this dude is really like, now you've just really made this unnecessarily weird.
He's pacing, getting agitated.
Yeah. And
on those lines.
And so I'm like, did I pay you too much? I'm trying to get him to say how much he thinks that he put on the paper, but he would never say. And I'm like, look, dude, if $100 isn't enough, then what's the deal? And he just kept like pacing back and forth and rubbing his head, like, kind of mumbling. And then he finally gets in his car and leaves. So he comes back one more time. And at this point, like, okay, now I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To the point where now I'm texting you thinking, I don't think I'm be able to go to the game. Because we got lawn weirdo here.
And I'm like, what in the world could have possibly happened to make Smiffy not come to the game?
Right.
Our entire world has been focused around these games for the last many months. And I'm like, what is possibly happening? So the whole time I'm at the tailgate wondering if Smiffy has been murdered by some crazy gardener.
Right.
And not like Jaquan Gardner.
Not Jaquan Gardner. I mean,
a crazy gardener. And so... ultimately is you didn't feel comfortable leaving the house, and therefore you had to stay home.
Exactly, because him coming back all that time, and it got me thinking was this guy's just trying to see whether or not I'm home, hoping one of these times I'm not home.
Yeah,
and so I wasn't going to give him that pleasure.
Right. Well, you went into defense mode.
Yep,
and that's a bummer.
Yep,
because you missed Smiffy an amazing game.
I did.
An insanely amazing game. One of the best I've ever seen.
One crazy finish.
Yeah.
One crazy performance by Kam.
Yeah. And if you haven't been to the game yet, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't, and you're in San Diego and you haven't come out and seen a game yet, you really need to.
I have to question your sanity.
And it's fun. I mean, I will say it was a little bit of a slow build. This game. There were definitely some issues that we'll get into during the recap.
Oh, for sure.
But we came out with the win in spectacular fashion.
Yes.
So.
And that's important. You come out with the win.
Yeah. But the question was, were you wrong?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. You were.
What? Hold your horses, sir.
Yeah, no, you were wrong, man. No. End of story.
There we go.
The blame falls squarely upon you.
Okay, it's all my shoulders.
And also the crazed gardener.
Yeah.
Now, without further ado, I hope you all enjoyed that story.
Yep.
It was a riveting tale.
Was I wrong?
Was Smiffy wrong? The answer was yes. But we have some games to recap, Smiffy.
We do.
And of course, when we do
recap,
that, it is the AAF Power Round. Alrighty, Smiffy, we had some games in the Alliance this week.
We did.
We not?
2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday.
As we have every week, the Orlando Apollos took on the Birmingham Bevels,
And
otherwise known as Iron.
It's the Iron.
Took them down, Smith, 31-14. The supposed Iron Curtain of Birmingham
Melted.
Smelted. Yeah.
Ooh.
But I was going to save that burn for later.
I'm sorry.
That's my burn.
You burned your burn.
But so the biggest news in this one was Luis Perez Smith. He got benched.
Yeah, you guys.
Right off the bat.
Maybe it's me.
Yep.
But he got the old yank pretty quickly.
Pretty quick. He threw a pick six, and that was it. He was out.
That was it.
Yeah, toast. So Keith Price comes in and does pretty dang good. Like you said last week, there's a kind of a trend of backup quarterbacks coming in and lighting it up.
Yeah.
He went 18 for 29, 234, and a touchdown, 8.1 yards per attempt. But yeah, not nearly enough to win the game.
No.
Because Garrett Gilbert was really good again. And a different running back this time, Davion Smith.
We have quite the committee there.
Almost 120 yards.
Yeah.
8.5 yards per carry.
That's an insane yards per carry average.
Yeah. Ernest Johnson with 9 for 49.
What Trent Richardson do?
Old Trent Richardson. His yards per carry was an astounding 2.6.
Again, falling
forward.
And scoring a touchdown.
He did. He fell in for one more touchdown.
Man.
I'm looking forward to facing him this week. I think the Fleet will hopefully make him fall backwards instead of forwards.
That would be the number 2 ranked defense against the run.
I'd love to get Richardson under 2 yards per carry.
Me too.
This coming week.
I think it's possible.
That's going to do it for the Orlando Apollos versus the Birmingham Bevels. Next up, we had the Memphis Express versus the Atlanta Legends. Smith.
With another late game victory.
Another late game victory. This was down to the wire, also a winning field goal.
By Koo.
Koo and the gang. It is funny to me.
I love it.
I do love it.
I love it.
But it is it's funny that the biggest, more or less, star on the Legends team is the kicker.
Yes.
He definitely has the most points on the team.
For sure.
But you got to give it to him. Look, the Legends were able to pull off what we couldn't.
That's true.
They didn't fake a punt. I will say that.
I'm seeing a pattern.
23-20, they take down the Memphis Express. And yeah, you got to hand it to them. That's 2 wins in a row for the Legends. They're doing much better.
They are on the rise.
I mean, they gave us some trouble out here at home. It wasn't like at first, and then we kind of ran away with it.
Yeah.
But they played a hard-fought game at home too. Notable performance from Terrion Folston and Aaron Murray. Aaron Murray over 300 yards, 27 for 43, 1 TD, no interceptions. That's the key there.
And he was the backup.
Yeah, he was. He came in last week.
Right. But he didn't start the season.
Yeah, so they kept the turnovers to a minimum, and they just played pretty well.
They did.
All around solid game. So hats off to the Legends, man. Yeah, Mettenberger.
He only threw it 17 times.
Yeah, low passing attempts.
Man, that's pretty low.
And the running looked like the Legends really controlled the ball here.
That's got to be the explanation for those stats.
But yeah, so good.
Congrats, Legends.
Good game. Congratulations. Sorry, Memphis.
Sorry,
guys.
Sorry.
I will admit, Memphis is my second favorite team.
Really?
Yeah, even though they beat us.
Okay.
I just got a soft spot for them.
Sure you want to say that?
Admit it out loud.
Yeah, you want to.
Sorry, guys.
Need an intervention?
No, I was rooting for them to take out the Legends. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like Coach Irby. I like the Memphis podcast.
He's a nice fella.
I like their unis.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially their away uniforms. Ooh, Smith. Before we move on.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of uniforms, I'm predicting that we see an alternate uniform either for us or the Iron this week.
Really?
Because gray and black are pretty similar colors.
That's true.
So one of us, I hope it's us, although it would be kind of weird to reveal our away uniforms at home.
Right.
Unless we're just calling them alternates at this point.
True.
But I hope it's us because screw the Iron.
I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are notorious for wearing their away jerseys at home.
Yeah, which I've always been annoyed by. Stupid Cowboys. Anyways, moving on to the speaking of
a barn burner.
Yeah. So the San Antonio Commanders versus the Arizona Hotshots. Oh shoot, who was this? I think it was the Commandorks. I said Commanders back.
You did say Commanders.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Shame on me. I mean, this final score makes it look a lot closer than this game was.
Yeah, it was not close.
29-25. The Commanders take down the Hotshots.
The flailing Hotshots.
Yeah, they're on a free fall.
Yeah.
Came out hot, and now they are cold.
The cold shots.
Yeah. Logan Woodside, I think this is probably his best game. 290 with 2 touchdowns. Yeah. John Wolford on the Hotshots also put up decent yardage and 2 touchdowns, but 3 picks.
Those 3, and you know what?
Yeah. Bosby had himself a game.
Those picks were, a couple of them were killer.
Yeah.
And you just can't recover from that.
No. And Bosby doing his best to prove our section wrong once again. Reminder is we heckled Bosby mercilessly.
We apologize again.
But it turns out, as it would turn out, Bosby does not suck, contrary to the chant that was ringing throughout Qualcomm. But yeah, so congrats to the Commanders. We're tied up there in first.
Yeah.
It's a battle to the finish.
I'd say we're really in first.
Yeah.
Because we beat the Commanders worse than they beat us.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
Just saying.
I think that qualifies as us being in first.
Totally.
Yeah, and also, I mean, there's so many ways we can go down. All the power rankings are so crazy. Like,
yeah.
We got beat by the Express. The Express got beat by the Legends.
Mm-hmm. But we beat the Legends.
And then that can I'm sure we could tie that to the Commanders somehow. I'm sure there's a tiebreaker in there somewhere.
Oh, totally.
But we'd have to really break that down. Lord Almighty. All right. So moving right along, Smiffy, to that. Well, I guess that concludes the AAF Power Round. So, Smith.
Yeah.
The game of the century. Yeah. The game everyone's talking about.
Not only the game of the week, but the game of the century.
That's right. The San Diego Fleet versus the Salt Lake Stallions. It wasn't crazy. It was an insane game.
It was just an emotional roller coaster.
Now I'm going to start off with the positives because there's some not positives, and I don't want to. I want to stay positive.
Okay.
For as long as I can until we get to where we're not positive anymore.
Sounds like
it has to be.
It has to be.
So the positives in this game.
Yeah.
Smith, our defense.
Outstanding.
Unbelievable.
How many yards rushing did they give up?
Not a lot.
57.
57. That's great. Good job.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So our defense was bananas. So Frank Ginda had 7 solo tackles.
Goodness.
Frank stepping in once again for AJ Tarpley.
Yeah.
Who's still out. Despite Dave Buller said he was coming in, but they still scratched him. So he didn't practice all week.
All right. Well,
but Ginda's been really good.
Yeah.
So it's good to see him getting some playing time.
Totally.
But we gotta give it up for Kam Kelly here.
Without a doubt.
3 interceptions, 5 solo tackles.
Pick six.
He
was just
high five.
I mean, he was just a complete spark plug.
Yeah.
All game.
Now, these interceptions were no easy interceptions either. He came out of seemingly nowhere.
Right.
With crazy diving, acrobatic catches.
I liked his first pick where he jumped in front, caught it, and then rolled out of bounds.
Yep.
Like he was on fire.
It's like, ooh! I'm on fire. I got to put myself out.
Too hot. This is too hot. I got to roll out of bounds. Whew, made it.
Yeah, he did, but he remained on fire despite
despite
those
his stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, but wow, he just absolutely tore it up, man. It was the best individual defensive performance that I can recall watching.
Yeah, I really.
And we've watched
Nothing
Junior
sticks out, man.
play. We've watched Eric Weddle play. We've watched a lot of guys play, and nothing comes out as impressive as Kam's performance to me.
Especially at that position.
Yeah. For a corner. To completely take over the game.
Exactly. Like I've seen linebackers like Lawrence Taylor completely take over a game.
Yeah.
Which is just
we saw it last week with
to watch with Jackson on Memphis.
Sergeant Jackson.
But
he is for real.
Coached by another phenomenal linebacker.
Yeah.
Singletary.
Actually, I was listening to the Memphis podcast. Sorry to go on a tangent here, but the shout out to the Memphis podcast. So the word on Drew Jackson was that he just had an insane amount of raw talent, but never really had much coaching experience.
Okay.
So it would appear that him and the combination of him and Singletary have turned him into just a force to be reckoned with. Wow. So anyway, enough about not our guys.
Yeah, enough about that.
Back to
team.
Kam Kelly and his dominant performance. Of course, he earned himself not only the defensive player of the week, but I would say a one-way ticket back to the NFL.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And the pick six was amazing too, because that was a diving catch.
It was,
and still had the wherewithal to get back up.
Yeah, and actually, I got to credit the entire defense on that play.
The block that he got.
Yep.
Was amazing.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing was amazing. But the pick and then to get that block, that just to have that mindset to turn around and block that stallion coming in. Dude, it was just great performance all around on that pick six by the defense. They instantly knew block, get him to the house, and they did it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole defense was on it right away. They're like, we got this. Let's block and get Kam into the end zone. And they did. And thank God they did, Smiffy.
Because they needed it.
Our defense won that game.
Hands down.
Our offense did not win that game.
No.
We couldn't get anything going in the run game. Bishop Sankey did return. He had a couple receptions. He had one run for about 8 yards.
Yeah.
5 carries. It looked like they were working him in slowly.
Which is okay, we kind of expected that.
Yeah, it did look like he ate into Watson's carries.
Yes.
Gardner got 9, but he only got 16 yards again, Smith.
Yeah, so definitely I don't know if it's just
receiving.
No, I think
he got 16 in receiving,
right.
But he had 9 attempts for only 3 yards. 9 was bad.
Yes.
3's worse.
Megan, Trent Richardson looked like he's just running up and down the field.
Yeah,
but
now, he's not. But he was being hit in the backfield every single carry.
And and I don't know if it's just defense now are just preparing for the run and just like, okay, well, let's just see San Diego throw it and make them beat us with the throw and not the run. So that could be what's going on right now.
Yeah. And now here's okay, so we put out, like we do weekly, our questions. We got an awful lot asking us how we felt about Berkovici's play.
Yeah.
And his lack of accuracy.
Yes.
Now, it was very apparent. So here's kind of how the drives went.
Yep.
Is we would get the ball through some amazing defensive act or turnover.
Right.
And Berkovici would complete a long pass on first down and then proceed to throw 3 more passes into the dirt or 5 yards behind him or 5 yards in front of his receiver and couldn't get any drives sustained going.
Yep.
We would have one big play and then it would fizzle and it was either we'd punt or kick a field goal.
Yeah. Very frustrating.
Very, very frustrating. And the crowd, Smiffy, the crowd was not having it.
Yeah. See, that's one thing I did not hear.
Yes, I did. And it was the Boo Birds were coming out in force.
Right.
Now, it's a miracle to me that he only threw one interception, a crucial interception at the end of the game that almost cost us the game.
Well, there were a few drops by the defense.
Yes. So, I mean, we won, and the game was extremely fun to watch. I almost had a heart attack at the end. Too. But the game, the final numbers are deceiving.
They are deceiving.
He had 304 yards and a touchdown and one pick. You would look at that stat line and say, dang, that's pretty good.
Right.
But the accuracy has got to improve, Smith.
Oh, without a doubt. Now, I don't know how it looked live.
Not good.
But on the television, on the old boob tube.
Yep.
The big thing that I noticed, there's two things that I noticed with him. Man, he's just not throwing it with any kind of authority. Like, he's throwing it, obviously. And he's throwing it, but
he's staring down his receivers, too.
He's staring down his receivers.
Yeah.
And
it's like there's a piece of
like
wire attached to the receiver he wants to throw to, and it's attached to his face mask.
Yeah. If he had a laser on his face mask, it would be pointed to the one receiver that he's picked as soon as he's got the ball. But the thing, too, that's a little discouraging from what I'm seeing, he's throwing a lot of passes off his back foot. He's not stepping into those throws.
Yeah. And that might explain the inaccuracy.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, they were just some wild throws, like in the dirt, not under pressure.
Right.
You know, we only gave up 2 sacks.
Yeah.
So he was getting rid of it before he was getting sacked,
right,
which is encouraging, but I don't know if that was making him antsy and making him throw off his back foot before he felt ready or comfortable. Yeah. But it was just, I mean, they were all over the place.
They were. And, you know, not to beat him up.
Yeah.
He did come through in that pass at the end of the game. I mean, he had to throw it, and he threw it exactly where it needed to be thrown.
Yeah.
So, that's
what I'm saying.
There's those moments.
His long balls were great.
Right.
He would start off these drives and connect on a huge gain, whether to Baugh or or Ford had an amazing game.
Yeah, Ford had a great game.
Look at the longs. If you go through the receivers, Dontez Ford long 45, Marcus Baugh his long 35 yards.
Yes.
Nelson Spruce had a 20-yarder.
Yeah,
Brian Brown had a 20-yarder. Ben Johnson had an 18-yarder. Jaquan Gardner had an 11. Yeah. His deep game was there.
He's like a golfer. He's got a great drive. He just can't.
Every time he tried to sustain a drive and just move it along, they were all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like he's just trying to be too finesse, like he's aiming it almost like he's, you know how dart players throw a dart?
Yeah.
It's almost like that, but a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't mean to beat the guy to death.
No, I mean he came through with that clutch throw and he won the game. I'll be when the Stallions came back and they scored that 2-point conversion, I was like, there is no way.
Oh, me too.
We're winning this game.
They can't run it. The throwings, I just don't know.
And the energy went. Everyone was like, okay. Everyone thought we were done, and then it's like, oh well, actually we have 54 seconds. Let's see if maybe a miracle happens, and I will categorize it as a miracle. But it was because of his long ball was there,
right?
For whatever reason,
yep.
Berkovic's long ball was there. He's just the short game, and thank God we got into field goal range.
Yeah,
because that's what we'd been doing the whole game. Literally the whole game. That's what we've been doing.
Exactly.
And then it would have just fizzled out. But yeah, I mean,
he's just, you know what? Man, he's got to fire that ball. Just throw it hard. And the thing I'm seeing too is there's a lot of passes being thrown behind receivers.
Behind him. That was very consistent.
So obviously I don't play football.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to tell. But as a viewer and as a fan, as all these years you've seen the game played, you can tell. You just can. Not that I'm saying I could be better at quarterback than anybody or anything like that.
I think you could.
Maybe.
Don't sell yourself short.
No. My throwing shoulder, I did, pull out of its socket many years ago. So who knows?
All right. Anyway,
but I can get out of straitjackets. But yeah, you know what? I think given time, I think he'll be okay. Unfortunately, the seasons are a little short for that.
Yeah.
And the preseason. So he wasn't given much time to develop, in my opinion.
So, yeah. Well, it's interesting to me the choice to go back to him in the first place.
Right.
Because Ross came in relief of Phil Nelson, and
and he's got zip to his throws.
Well, he's got a cannon.
Yeah.
An absolute cannon. He came in and threw that long touchdown right away to ball last week. And then now he turned the ball over a lot after that, but I wouldn't chalk up those turnovers to poor decision making.
Right.
He was getting hit as he was throwing.
Yeah.
And the ball was flying out of his hand, and that was a fumble.
Right.
Yeah, it was just interesting that they decided to go then back to Bercovici and not give Ross another try.
Right. I didn't see the same accuracy problems with Ross.
Yeah.
There were still some, but not to the degree.
Yeah. But hey,
it's still a W.
But they made that call very early in the week too.
They did, yeah.
Like they didn't give them a chance to battle it out in practice.
Right.
They were like, based on, Ross coming in, and Bercovici was literally not even active for that game.
Exactly.
They were like, oh, okay, Bercovici's starting again.
Right.
And the reason that he wasn't active was because Ross practiced the previous week. So it's confusing.
It really is.
It's confusing. Like they can't pick one guy and stick to him.
Which I understand. It's new team, new league.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's just right now on the fleet, there's just no clear-cut quarterback starter.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and I can only just, report what the fans were. Yeah. The fans were not having it. Right. They were calling for his head. Which is a bit
much in my opinion.
I mean, it's fine. Listen, there's something to be said for letting him finish out. He did show that he had a little bit of clutch in him,
which is great.
Yeah. Which is a really encouraging sign. Yes. And if he can, the offensive line showed that they could protect, right? We only had 2 sacks, which is easily our best game of the year.
Yep.
Pass protection wise.
True.
Running game, this was, I would say, our worst game of the year, even worse than last week in the Memphis. So that actually leads us to a question that we got from Scott Koenig. With the running game looking as anemic as it has the past 2 weeks, is it the offensive line just a slump, or is Memphis and Salt Lake just that good against the run? So Memphis is actually ranked 7th against the run, Smiffy. I don't know if you knew that.
I do now.
Yeah, and Salt Lake is ranked first against the run.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, no, we're just not playing. We're just not running the ball well right now.
Well, the Memphis game was quite clear that the offensive line was having some issues.
Yeah, we lost Mama.
Mama went down.
Yeah.
It was, and I think there was a couple other people that got hurt, but they came back in. So it just wasn't the best game. And I got to tell you, Memphis had 3 games of film to watch how San Diego runs the ball, and it's obviously prepared for it. And that's what we dare you to throw it.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. So
yeah.
And I think honestly, I think the outcome would have been different had Nelson not got hurt.
Yeah.
Because Nelson, you got to admit, he was getting into a rhythm.
He was getting really good. Nelson was playing really well. But let's give Bercovici one more game.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. I'm excited to see where this goes. I think maybe one more week of practice. Work on that short game. Work on that accuracy. Get off that back foot.
Yep.
And start completing those so we can sustain drives.
Yeah, don't be scared to hurt those receivers' hands by throwing it too hard.
Now we're playing the Iron, who I think are maybe being a little bit exposed as not quite as good as everyone thought they were.
No, and I'm not saying this to talk trash. I never thought that they were that good.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the knock on them when they were 3-0. They're like, well, who have you played at this point?
Right.
And they didn't beat, at that point, basically everyone who they had played had losing records. That being said, the Legends and the Express have gone on to win some games and are playing much better football.
Right.
So, and again, they did play Orlando, who is definitely the best offense in the league right now.
For sure.
But they just had no answers for Orlando's offense.
No, they
didn't even slow them down. As being touted as the best defense in the league, they didn't even slow down Orlando's attack. I
gotta say, I really have to say the 2 best defenses in this league, in my opinion, right now, are the Fleet and the Stallions.
Yeah, the Stallions. Well, yeah, the Stallions played pretty good, but I would say, by and large, that run defense for sure. The pass defense not as much. most of our problems in the passing game were just because of poor accuracy.
Oh, no, totally. Don't do that. Yeah, but I have to say, as I've seen these games, these past 5 weeks, hands down to me, San Diego's got the number one defense just because they have kept the team in every single game. Mm-hmm. Literally. I mean,
they figured out a way to keep them in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just those 2 games, the offense has come up short.
Yep.
So
yeah, but literally the defense flat out won this game.
Totally.
100%.
Yeah. Which is okay.
That's awesome.
Dude,
it made for a really exciting game to watch, actually.
Yeah, it's not a complaint that the defense won a game. I think that was freaking awesome.
I think it's the first time in my ever that I've watched a football game. Mm-hmm. And when the offense left the field and the defense came onto the field, I was like, all right, now we're going to score some points.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Now, so our tight ends again, Smiffy, remain to be the best group in the AAF. Ba has really come on strong the last couple weeks.
He has.
65 yards on 2 catches. But then Ben Johnson came up with 2 in that clutch touchdown. As a
matter of fact, I believe his first catch was also a touchdown. So his first ever catch in the AAF was a touchdown.
Oh, well, see, that's the advantage you get from watching from home.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to brag, but I could have been on the play-by-play team.
He had a very Gronk-esque spike.
He did.
It was a good spike. So it was cool to see him get involved. But I've been putting together rankings for fantasypros.com. Mm-hmm. And I have all 3 of our tight ends ranked in the top 10.
Look at you.
And that's not just based on being a homer. That's based on stats.
Oh, there you go.
and who we're playing. Like when our tight ends are putting up the numbers that they are, Escobar has been he hasn't quite been performing up to what I think everyone was expecting.
True.
But Ba has been exceeding everyone's expectations. And they're still very good. We can go a number of ways. We have a lot of weapons at tight end.
Which is good.
Yeah, it is good. All right, Smith, I think that's it for the game recap. I think we covered it pretty well.
No, we didn't.
Pat on our back to what? You son of a...
Gotcha.
I thought we did good.
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
Oh. Sorry.
Hashtag being mean to Joseph.
Hey.
Usually it's hashtag being mean to Smiffy.
All the time.
Were you guys aware that I occasionally get a little mean to Smiffy on Twitter mostly?
Mostly.
Did I do it at the beginning of this episode? I can't remember if we cut it out or not.
No, not really.
Anyway, way to not remember things.
Good job.
Dude.
Good job.
But there's been a little hashtag called Free the Smiffy from my Twitter meanness directed towards Smiffy. I'm sorry, man.
It's all right.
It's just so much fun.
It is. Yeah. I think.
But speaking of the old social medias, we had something pretty awesome happen literally right before this we started recording.
We did.
And if we sound a little
unexpected and awesome.
Yeah, super unexpected, super awesome. But if we sound a little loopy or a little out of our element tonight, it's because it is now midnight.
It is late.
And we are several hours behind schedule, and that is because we did our giveaway live on Instagram Live. Mm-hmm. And to our surprise, Tanny Tupu, the defensive lineman, and Soto, and a whole bunch of Fleet players joined the Instagram Live, and they were playing cards and answering questions and just having a good time and chatting it up. It was hilarious, and it was super freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was turned out this Monday ended up being the best Monday ever.
Yeah. And so now we're running super late.
Yeah.
But it was totally worth it.
But it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's definitely,
anyway, we're going to be doing another giveaway next week. We did find the winner. He's from Brazil, so that's going to cost me in postage. Actually, speaking of, we had a winner in Florida.
Right.
We had a winner in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And now we have a winner in Brazil.
We're just getting further and further away. Man.
Throw me a bone, people. Can someone from San Diego... Actually, one person from San Diego won.
Okay.
But that's it. And
just send it ground to Brazil.
Man. Oh, Lord, it's still going to cost me a fortune. Anyway, congratulations to that guy. Way to cost me a ton of money.
I hope you're happy.
But next week's giveaway is going to be great. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet,
surprise.
but it's going to be great. And I'm super excited for it. So anyway, that was cool. I just wanted to let you know it is on our Instagram Live now, or on our story. I guess that's where it shows up after you're done recording.
Are you able to link it to Twitter?
I don't think
or
so.
Facebook?
I don't think you can link stories.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it is dumb.
I would imagine you should be able to Facebook since Facebook owns Instagram.
Maybe. I'll look into it.
Okay.
I'll figure it out. Regardless, we should figure out a way to save it.
That too.
Yeah. Because it will disappear in 24 hours if we don't save it.
What?
Yeah.
That's
How about that?
Something.
Yeah. Polonium. Weapons grade polonium is what that is.
Tell you what. I wouldn't want to eat that.
No, sir. So, O.B. McHugh. Actually,
infamous.
No. The infamous O.B. McHugh. Psych, we're not going to answer your question yet. Take that. So, actually, Dan, Undiluted7 on Twitter asks, from someone overseas, are you finding more people in the streets locally are repping the fleet or talking about the AAF in general? Smith, from your perspective, what have you seen here?
Be honest with you, I have not seen much.
I have maybe seen a little bit more.
Except for the beer sales guy at Vaughn's.
The beer, he knows about the fleet.
He does.
And when he sees your hat, he talks to you about it.
Yeah, he does. But I don't think he goes to the games.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. These games, we gotta get to the games, people. I had a bunch of people from work go this week, and they all loved it, and they're gonna go back again. So, converted fans.
Nice.
But I will say that a pizza delivery guy.
Right.
I open up the door.
Ooh.
I know I shouldn't be eating the pizza due to the pants size.
Right.
And all. But
are you answering the door just in your hat?
Yeah. Yeah, and surprisingly, that's all he noticed.
You're the fleet guy.
No, but pizza delivery guy was like, oh, the fleet, dude, I'm a season ticket holder. I'm super excited.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then
That's cool.
Yeah, so I will say that it's gone more from people not knowing what the hat is to people saying, oh, yeah, I've heard about that. I did run into a couple at Petco who were completely decked out head to toe in fleet gear.
Oh, wow.
And I'm all the way up north in North County, which there is no advertising up here at all.
Okay.
So I was surprised to see that I do get quite a few people recognizing the hat up here.
Right. I wonder if it's just because the Dixon Encinitas sells the gear.
Yeah, maybe. Does it? It's as far up as Encinitas now? Because I know the San Marcos one doesn't.
Yeah, the San Marcos one definitely does not, but Encinitas does.
So Anthony Goodrich asks, why is there nothing advertising towards college students in the area? Is there any? And he wants to know, and this is an open question because I don't know, but maybe any SDSU students out there, is there active fleet advertising on the SDSU campus? He's from the USD Toreros campus and says there's nothing.
Okay.
So I think that would be a critical audience to hit. I did notice that at this game, I don't think the entire SDSU band was there.
Okay.
But there was a band there.
Yeah, I saw some like
playing
drum kits out there.
Yeah, and they did have SDSU signs above them. So I think there has been some outreach going out to SDSU. I don't know if there's been like a big ticket promotion or a big presence on the campus or anything like that.
Right.
I mean,
sorry, I think it'd be a huge miss that if there wasn't any towards it, speaking specifically of UCSD, because there's so many UCSD alumni on the team.
Yeah.
I would think that would just naturally flow into that. I don't know if there's any Toreros on the team.
There is some Toreros on the team as well.
But yeah, now I have to admit the league overall has excelled at being bad at advertising.
Yeah.
It really has.
Secret.
I've been really, that's like, to me, that's been one of the biggest, it's probably the top one or two things that bugs me about the league is the lack of advertising.
Now, despite that, the numbers week over week have been increasing on television viewing. Yep. You contributed to that this week.
You're welcome.
So that's encouraging.
Yes.
The viewership is going up. This was, as I mentioned earlier, our biggest, our highest attended game so far with just under 21,000. I think we missed it by less than 100.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
And Yeah,
it would have been
that's all you
with me,
and the Go Boats crew. If anyone showed up, we would have hit 21,000.
Thanks, Peter.
But anyway, with that being said, Smith, the excitement of this last game, I think everyone at that game is going to spread the word and say that was just one of the most fun games despite some lackluster play on offense or not the best play on offense, how well the defense was and how that game finished. The way they just didn't play a good game on offense all game, but the way that they rallied and finished when they could have just given up and didn't, and provided just one of the best finishes in a professional football game that I've ever seen. Word of that's going to spread.
Oh, without a doubt.
I wouldn't be surprised, Smiffy, if we were able to get up over 25,000 this weekend.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
And if we keep winning and the games keep being good and we keep performing at that final game, week 10, that's our last home game, I wouldn't be surprised if we got up over 30.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
And you know what? People just go to the game.
Yeah, it's super, super fun.
It's fun. If you're not into tailgating, that's fine. Just show up
just come later,
an hour before the game, get your tickets.
Hours. You don't have to get there at 1. We get there at 1 every time.
Yeah,
at least I do. Being mean to Smiffy,
right?
And and we tailgate it up, but you don't have to do it that way. You can just show up, go to the game. You're gonna have a good time. It's a lot of fun.
Quit coming up with excuses not to go.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
For only, populating the lower bowl, and there was a decent crowd this time. There was a really good showing, how loud it is.
Right.
With 2 rows pretty much empty, the top and the middle.
Yeah.
It's still pretty impressive.
It is. I mean, what game was, I think it was the Legends game?
Yeah.
Where
they had to call the timeout.
The timeout and the false starts. Yeah. And man.
But, yeah. I mean, I'm excited.
I am too.
I think it's going to keep going, and we had a really good group. So I will say that the big portion of the tailgate group didn't show up, but a bunch of other people did join us at the tailgate.
Oh, nice!
And it ended up being our biggest tailgate yet.
Oh wow!
Hodad's was there with us this time.
Wow! Look at that.
And a bunch of my guys from work showed up.
Right.
It was fun. There was kids running around throwing the football.
They bring their
surfboards. Very laid back. No. Oh. Hey, you're getting into our personal lives.
Oh.
Speaking of, we haven't really ever gone into our backstories.
No, I don't think we want to bore him with that.
Nah, who cares about that? Anyway, maybe in a future episode, we'll let you guys
season-ending episode.
Get to know Smiffy and Van Awesome.
Are you sitting down? Do you have a pillow?
A compelling story for the ages.
It's a warm glass of milk for your ears.
O'Brien McQuaid, the old Obie McHugh. This guy is a handful.
Man. He is.
Actually, he has a very good question here. And he's not a handful.
That's very un-Obi-Wan-like.
Yeah. He says, halfway through the season, let's talk all-stars.
No.
Maybe also figure out a name for what the AAF could call these said all-stars. Who would you put as an all-star on the fleet?
Well,
I think if you'd asked this question 2 weeks ago, the answer would have been obvious.
Absolutely.
Gardner.
Easily.
But then he had 2 games in a row under 10 yards rushing.
Yes.
That being said, he was still the leading rusher heading into the game. Right. I don't know if the Commanders, Kenneth Farrow, overtook him or not.
He did not have a good game.
He didn't have a good game?
No.
So that being said, he might.
I know that because he's on my fantasy team.
He might still be the leading rusher right now.
He just may well be.
Again, we could look that up, but we're running long. We're not going to.
But I tell you this, I have a name for the All-Star team.
Yes.
And I didn't, it may be kind of like, oh, that's pretty obvious. I guess so.
Noodles
Sorry,
thinks
Noodles.
so. Noodles is bored with your ramblings.
I apologize, Miss Noodles. Well, what do you think they should be called?
She thinks they should be called.
They should be called the Noodles.
Noodles makes Chewbacca sounds. Yes. That's what she does.
I think it should be the All Alliance team.
I like it. Yeah, the All Alliance. I can get on board with that. Very classic. Yeah.
I dig the classic stuff.
If I had to pick one All-Star right now from the team, I would have to go with DeMontre Moore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could only pick one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
especially after Cam's performance.
Yeah, and it would be very close. Soto's also been very good.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing, is our entire defense could be
the all-star.
The all-stars.
Exactly.
Kelly, again, he's been awesome, but he's only had 2 weeks on the defense so far, right? That being said, he's got more interceptions than anyone else in the entire league who's played the whole season.
Exactly. I mean, he's excelled.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing good on offense. He just wasn't getting a whole lot of targets. But once he moved back to defense, I mean, he's just everywhere. Yeah. I mean, that's what you want, man. I mean, that's a hard choice to make. Who would be the one all-star here? Because to be honest with you, there's just not one.
Yeah. Everyone's been very good.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like even our depth. Yeah. You know, we talked about Frank Ginda. Yeah. You know, because if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said it had to have been Tarpley.
Right.
Right. He's been out. Tarpley was doing amazing. Frank Ginda's come in and has been doing just as good. You know, like our defense is amazing, and Larry Marmee.
I tell you what,
good job.
I think his signature skills are showing in his coaching skills.
Yep. Agreed. It's a good question, OB McHugh.
And I hope
he will be missing this week's game, by the way.
Oh, okay. So
we'll shame him a little bit.
We will shame. All right. So the shame finally gets away from me.
All right. This is kind of a funny question. James Matthews, the prolific asker, says, since the fleet could use a fresh QB in the long haul, what famous actor in their prime, mind you, could fill in for us? Kurt Russell, Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Burt Reynolds. So those are our four choices. If we had, I would have thrown Keanu Reeves in there because of the replacements, potentially. Right. Maybe Adam Sandler because of the remake of The Longest Yard.
Not The Waterboy.
And Waterboy.
Okay.
Just some high quality H2O.
It's a foosball.
But before, speaking of famous actors, before we get into this, after the win, Nick Swardson tweeted at us.
Oh, that's right.
Publicly.
Yes.
Basically crediting us. He said, great win for the Shipyard.
You're welcome, Nick.
And it's like, hey, I don't want to take full credit for the win, but I will.
We can't. It's a team. There's no I in team. Yeah, but there is cool one in Shipyard.
Man, how cool was that? That was super, super cool of him. I just didn't expect that at all. But anyway, it was super cool. And it's just awesome that he's a Fleet fan. He was watching out in Hawaii. Yeah. He's filming a movie in Hawaii right now.
Lucky son of a gun.
Yeah. And but anyway, so between Kurt Russell, Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Burt Reynolds in their primes, first of all, I got to write off Schwarzenegger. He's not the right build for a quarterback.
No.
Way too big of arms.
Yeah, he's a punter.
Bruce Willis. No, I'm gonna say he's not quite the quarterbacking type either. Perhaps if he were given a gun, then if firearms were allowed, right. I would have chosen Bruce Willis. But no, I'm gonna have to go of this bunch. Burt Reynolds.
Okay,
Smiffy, what would you say?
Am I allowed to go off the list?
Sure, go for it. I was gonna say no, but.
Oh, hands down, Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris. We'd never lose.
Yeah, Chuck Norris. I can't argue with that.
No, but I can't argue with Burt Reynolds either. I mean, he was an actual, honest-to-goodness college football player.
Yeah. Plus, awesome mustache.
The best 70s Trans Am mustache. May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Smiffy.
But, Kurt Russell, though.
Yeah.
He's
prime.
He could probably,
probably sling it.
Probably back in his Escape from New York days. Yeah. Or Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, he would have been kind of like a...
Now, he did play in a movie with Robin Williams where they went back and had a rematch against their rival high school team about 20 years after they graduated high school.
Really?
Yes.
How have I not heard of this movie?
And he was the quarterback.
Huh. Maybe that's why he was included in this list.
The name of the movie is escaping me at the moment, but the whole kind of the underlying plot of that movie is that Robin Williams dropped the touchdown pass and they lost to their high school rivals. And then, spoiler alert, the movie where they're playing the rematch game, they're in the huddle before the last play, and Robin Williams is like, throw me the ball, just throw me the ball. And come to find out, he ends up being the person that Russell has to throw the ball to. Big dramatic slow motion. He's like bobbling the ball and all this stuff, and he finally catches it. And
I should have dropped it again.
But gosh, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it.
Predictable.
But it's a funny movie. You should check it out.
I will. I'll look it up. The Wallfleet Journal, or at Wolf of Wallfleet, which I love. This is probably my favorite.
That is a
Twitter.
tongue twister.
The Wolf of Wallfleet. I love that Twitter handle.
Yes, it's great.
Yes. What will next season look like with the addition of the XFL coming into play? This is actually a real good question. I like this question. AAF had the 1 year head start. What can we expect from the two leagues battling for the same audience?
Well, may I go first?
Yes, please.
I don't think we have to worry too much about battling for the same audiences, because the XFL, for some unexplained reason, decide to put franchises in cities that already have an NFL team.
Yeah, and if to that point, if you look at the Alliance and the attendances, I believe the lowest are in Arizona and Atlanta, or if they're not the lowest, they're right down there. Yeah. Which are the two teams that have an NFL following.
NFL teams,
right? They're the two biggest markets.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that the Phoenix would be considered a bigger market than San Diego, but it does. Regardless, it's an NFL. It currently has an NFL team,
city,
right? And so I don't know what the interest is going to be like from XFL fans or those markets. I mentioned this in a much earlier episode that I feel like if you are a football fan in those markets, you're following those teams pretty heavily.
Right.
And you might actually be a little footballed out by the time the XFL and the AAF roll around.
Yes.
And I think one of the bigger challenges for the AAF has been capturing those major markets.
And to add to the football fatigue, most of those cities also have a pretty decent following in the college teams there as well.
Yeah.
So that's
true. And if
factor.
they're not forking out the big bucks for the NFL, they're going to college games.
Right, because look at the Stallions.
Yeah.
They're in Salt Lake City. You have obviously the big team BYU.
Right.
But there's no competing quote unquote professional team.
Right.
And
now their attendance has been pretty poor as well, but they've had some very harsh weather conditions. So
they've had some.
It's understandable.
Yes, they've had some elements to deal with.
I did see a picture in the stands, and some kid had built a snowman to sit next to him in that snow game.
Did it count for attendance?
It should have.
It should have.
I think they should have given it. But now I think the XFL, because there's also the question of the talent dilution, right? Because the AAF came in and scooped up, the top available talent already.
Yeah.
So my thought here is that the XFL is going to be targeting younger kids out of college,
right?
Like fresh out of college, with less NFL experience. The other element here, and this is actually a big news item that we didn't talk about in the beginning of the show because we forgot about it, but this reminded me, is the biggest news of the week was, and I have mixed feelings on this, and I'm curious to get your take because I don't know if you've seen this or not yet, Smiffy, but Bill Polian said that a partnership is in the works with the NFL to essentially loan NFL players to the AAF. So my worry here, and I don't think this is going to happen,
right? But
my worry is that it would be regional allocations just like college.
Okay.
Maybe we would get I don't even want to say it out loud, but maybe we would be an affiliate of the Chargers and the Rams and the West Coast teams, right?
Right.
I hope it's not going to be like that. I don't think it would make sense to be like that.
Yeah.
My hope would be that every team could maybe designate 3-4 guys.
Right.
And then they would go into a pool and then they would be drafted based on priority of how we finish it this year. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Or they would go back to their college regional allocations.
Okay.
So if we were to say if a team were to designate a player to come down to the AAF, then it would just go back to wherever they went to college.
I think that makes more sense because it keeps continuity.
Yeah. So if it were to happen that way, I still don't know if I'm entirely cool with it. I think it could give us some better quarterback talent potentially, but at the same time, I don't. It would further reinforce the notion that this is a minor league.
It would.
Yeah,
it would.
And so I'm not super excited about it one way or another, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I just hope it's not. So one of the questions that was asked of us last week was, what NFL players do you think could come in and make an immediate impact in the AAF right now?
Right.
And like earlier in the season, an answer to that would be Donnell Pumphrey.
Well, yes.
He's been stuck on the practice squad.
Totally.
He's got a lot of talent, and I think he could come into the AAF and really tear it up.
Yes.
Right now, he's stuck in a futures contract to come back and be on the practice squad again.
Right.
And because he got that futures contract, he couldn't come and play in the AAF.
Oh, man.
Right? Which sucks.
Yeah.
He would rather be getting some reps and playing and enjoying and actually getting some game time and game film instead of just showing up and practicing for a living, basically. Right. So in that respect, some of these guys who are on practice squads and who are locked into futures contracts could still go and play in the spring.
Right.
And then go back to their NFL team.
Yeah, you know what? And think about it this way. Think about Major League Baseball, where in the offseason, you have a handful of players that usually go down and play like either in Central America, the Dominican Republic, and those are quote unquote professional leagues for there.
Yeah.
To get more either at bats, get more time, working on a particular pitch that they're trying to work out.
Sure.
And there was never this feeling of like, oh, you're just taking a step down to the minors when they did that.
Yeah.
And also too, think about soccer where teams do loan players to other teams. Yeah. And it's not like they're being demoted to the minor leagues. You're just being loaned to a different team in a different league, that type of stuff.
So there's a way it could work. I think maybe that, that would give us back to the XFL question. If something like that were to happen, clearly that would give us the leg up on talent.
Yes. Oh, easy.
I think the XFL, they were at the combine. They're targeting younger kids. They're incentivizing them with like actually big bonuses if they were to sign in the XFL out of college. And I think their monetary package is comparable to the AAF, but it's not. There's tiers in the AAF.
Okay.
So the potential to make a little bit more money, I think, exists in the AAF in the XFL.
Yeah.
But there's also the potential to make less money, depending on where you are on the tiers. So that's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah.
And if, obviously anyone in the Alliance now is locked in for 3 years, they can't go to the XFL. They can only go to the NFL.
Right.
So the talent that we have now, we've got at least for 3 years. And then at that point, obviously they could not re-sign or do whatever. And then, but I think we have initially a big leg up. And if that NFL contract went through or NFL deal went through, then that would, again, give us an even bigger leg up on the talent, but,
and it could it could be a couple of things. It could be the age old adage of first to market wins.
Yep.
Another thing that could happen too with players that are currently in the AAF is that they'll start seeing either teammates or players from other teams starting to get those calls up to the NFL. Like, hey, I'm going to stay put here because I'm seeing it work.
Right.
Whereas the XFL still at this moment in time is an unknown.
Right.
You can't really go off on the past iteration of the XFL because I think they're trying to do something different this time.
Yeah.
Still kind of keep some of it that XFL, but
this is.
But yeah, I think the one thing is that the XFL definitely is that advertising and marketing juggernaut.
They do. So. You can tell even the way they do press conferences feels bigger.
Yeah.
They've got the better quality, they've got a shine, a sheen to them.
They do. No,
they do. Even
it's
at
polished.
this point, that's just a little bit further ahead than where the AAF is. If you look at the press conferences they throw together, it's a very large backdrop. The press conferences the AAF have, the backdrop doesn't even fill the camera frame.
No.
Right?
It looks like they got it at Target.
Yeah. So it's, they pay attention to those little details, and it goes, and they are paying attention to that aesthetics. So that worries me a little bit, because we've said from day one, perception is key.
Yeah.
I will say that I got a call from my friend Dave, who I grew up with.
Dave?
Yeah, Dave. Good old
Dave's
Dave.
got here, man.
He hasn't been. In fact, he's been the one he's literally scoffed at the AAF from day one.
I scoff at Dave.
He's like, oh, who's your week one opponent? The Mexico City Aardvarks?
Okay,
and I'm like, all right, Dave, relax. But then he saw the Fleet versus Stallions game.
Okay.
And he's like, all right, dude.
I'm in.
He's like, I'm in. I'm coming to the next home game. When is it? And I'm like, all right, it's next Sunday. He's like, okay, I'm coming. So you're going to meet Dave.
All right.
I grew up with the guy. He's hilarious.
No, that's cool, man.
But he has scoffed from day one. I think he's finally accepted that this is good football. So, but that above all else, good football is going to bring in the fans. And,
absolutely.
I mean, this weekend was really good football across the board.
Yes.
The worst game, in my opinion, was probably the Apollo's Iron game. Just because it wasn't much of a game.
No,
it wasn't very competitive.
It wasn't.
But
but there's going to be those games. There's those games in the NFL.
Oh, for sure there is. For sure. But yeah, Smith, that's going to do it for the show, buddy.
Oh boy,
I know. What an abrupt ending, but an ending nonetheless.
Well, it's got to end sometime.
It does. So, Smiffy.
Sure.
I think you know what that means.
Well, I hope it's not to be mean at me.
It's not. It's to be very, very nice.
Oh.
Time to be nice to Smiffy and tell him to get some special sauce for his beard so he looks better than he does now.
Oh. Kind of had a...
I got a little mute again at the end. I hit the wrong outro music, but that's all right. I'm going to keep it. We're going to roll with that one.
All right.
Smiffy.
Yes.
It's the end of the show.
It is.
Find us on the YouTubes, the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Reddit.
And the Facebooks.
The Shipyard, everywhere. And head on over to thebeardclub.com and get yourself some fancy beard juice.
Some fine facial hair stuff.
You won't regret it, I guarantee. And without any further ado.
Adieu.
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 It's the end of the show. Our milkshakes are It's so late. I should be sleeping. That's the end of the show. Go Boats.